Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today uh, we are going to further I'm going to explain what is a research, and we are going to study about it, and then in the end we will cover another topic, that is writing an essay, and that is also very important. So generally what happens in the research is yes, last week we were discussing what is a research, why we do research, and then what is needed to do a research, and then who supervises your research, and then what is a requirement for the research. So the requirement is you have to be inquisitive, you have to be imaginative. So if you start asking questions, the attitude of questioning will help you in this research. You have to be more inquisitive, you have to inquire more about the things which is happening, and when you start doing that, you will come to a problem statement, or you will find a gap which has not been answered, and then that will be your first step in doing the research. So the criteria of a good research. So this is very important. So the first point is that the purpose of your research should be clearly identified, that why you are doing research, what is the purpose of doing research, and then what are the common concepts which you need to do, you need to have the knowledge about in the problem which you are trying to explore, and then you need a clarity in the procedure you are going to adopt to perform the research. So you need to be very clear what are the experiments you need to perform, and how you are going to do the experiments to solve the problem, or to the research problem which you have selected is you will find a solution to that. So the procedure should be very clear, and then you will get some results from those experimental procedures you will adopt, and then you will have to report those uh, results, and you have to be very honest about the result. And then there is always a position you can always acknowledge, or if you have experienced any procedural flaw during your experimentation, you should also mention that. And what are the limitations of the studies? Now this is a very important point. So limitations of the study should always be mentioned, that the scope of the project is defined, this is the boundary of the project, this research is within these domains, and you have to define those limitations. And then the criteria, moreover, you have to be perform the appropriate, if you are using some statistical tool, then what is the error, what is the significance, what is the criteria, then what are the reliable outcome measures, what are your, is if it is a quantitative experiment or quantitative research, what are the outcomes, what it actually measures, and then you have to justify your conclusion with those outcomes. Then the limitations and the, it's generally you should, what happens is that here in NUST we have a policy to formulate a guidance committee, or GEC, and examination committee. So that GEC should be some people who are experienced in the research you are trying to perform. So if, for example, you are studying some traffic flows, and you are doing some research on traffic engineering, so you should have a GEC which have people who are experienced research in those domains, and your supervisor should be also in experienced person in that domain. So this will help you in your research, and you will be able to do a very good research if your supporting team is very knowledgeable in that area. And then you have to be logical, and you will perform a systematic research. You should not try to run in your research, and you try to skip the steps which I will discuss in detail in the further futures in the further slides. So the process is very straightforward. You have to follow this process. You can't skip any steps. Okay, so the first step is the deciding what to what to research. Okay, so this is your first step. That is your problem statement. So what you are trying to do in your research, you have to find it out. You have to formulate a research problem. So that is your step one. Then you will plan your research. Okay, so in planning your research, you have to decide how you are going to perform the research, what are the instruments you will require in your research. You will make a conceptual plan and research design or test metrics. So this is the stage 2, that is the planning stage. And then you will perform the research, and then you will write your research proposal. And after writing your research, before writing your research proposal, you will do the literature review in your planning phase. And then after writing your research proposal, you will conduct your research. Okay, so after planning, the third step is conducting your research. So in conducting, you will collect the data, you will process the data, you will analyze the data, and you will write your research report, or you will conclude your research.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you just in simple ways tell me what do you mean when you say conceptualize the design or the research?
By conceptualizing your research design, this means this is your planning phase. So what are the different things you are studying? What is the scope of your research? What are the experiments which you will perform in your research? All these things is your planning stage. Okay, so this is actually the conceptualizing. How many samples you will need if you are going to perform a survey? So where you will perform the survey, what is the survey size, how many survey data you need, or if you are performing some experiments in the lab, so how many experiments or you will need, how many samples you are going to make. All this is actually known as the planning your research or conceptualizing your research design, and this is based upon your literature. Okay, is that it?
Got it, sir.
Okay, thank you. So how to select your research topic? So this is a very important point. So this is actually your first point. So choosing a topic is your first step in your research, and to find out the right topic, it is extremely important, because your whole project is dependent upon selecting your topic. So you have to spend some considerable amount of time in selecting your research topic, and you will select the topic by being an inquisitive, by being more creative, by asking questions. Okay, so you will be able to find out the topic if you are being more inquisitive, by reading some literature, by reviewing, by identifying, and then you will highlight the research topic or the problem solving. So it is actually a brainstorming of the ideas. So you will have multiple questions like where, how, what, when, why. So you will ask these questions when you will be reading your research, or you will be identifying an area. So it is actually, you will select a broader topic, and you will slowly and gradually go deeper. You will go into the subtopic, and then from subtopic you will identify a gap, and that gap will be your research topic. And the identification of the gap is when you will ask those questions. Okay, so you will, first step would be selecting a broader topic, and then in that broader topic you will identify or select a subtopic, and that subtopic you will further go dig deeper, and you will try to ask those questions, and when you will ask those questions you will find a gap. Okay, so this question has not been answered, so then you will identify a gap which can be your research topic if it has not been researched. So first step is brainstorming for ideas, then selecting a broader topic, then exploring a literature to attain general background information on the broader research topic, and then you will narrow down to subtopics or research topic. Okay. So this is your first step, and this is your most important step.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Umair?
Sir, can we publish a case study, or we should publish a research work only?
So you can always publish a case study if you have performed some experiments on site on a project. So that can be your case study, and on case study you will find out some results. You will conclude something out of it, and those conclusions can easily be published, because case study is field specific, site specific, area specific, or it has some scenarios which give it a novelty. Okay, so if you are
Right.
studying the bridges in KPK, so that is actually a novelty in itself. So you can always publish a case study. Okay,
Thanks.
so a good
Excuse me,
research
sir.
topic. Yes.
Sir, there can be many reasons while choosing a topic for research. Which one should be given more priority to choose any topic?
So number one is your interest. Okay, so the topic you are trying to study, are you interested in that or not? So that is your first thing. So the topic should be interesting. Okay, if you are not interested in that topic, you should not select that topic. Secondly, you should see that it is a latest um, thing which you are trying to study, or the problem you are trying to solve is actually a recent problem, and so this is a very important point as well. So, and the third point is, can we solve this problem? Do we have the resources available to solve it? So is it easy to perform, or is it very difficult? We can't solve it. So you have to see all these things when you select the topic.
Right,
Okay.
sir. Sir, whether we should judge the duration. For example, if I am interested in structural health monitoring, and I do know that it will take most of the time, maybe 1 or 2, 1.5 years, so it might be difficult for me to complete it in this duration. So, should I go for it?
My take would be, if you are interested in it, you love to study this field, you want to further explore it, then you won't get a better time than this is the best time you can do research on it. Okay, i
Right, sir.
would I would suggest that you should go for it if you can do it within 1 year. 1 year is not a problem. Okay, and you can always start your research in your third semester. You don't have to wait till you finish your coursework and then you can enter your. You can always start it before you finish your third semester, before you finish your second semester. You can always start your research. So if the research is a longer duration research, you can finish it in 2.5 to 3 years. Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you.
So a good research topic should Be answerable to research questions. It conveys the information that is sufficient for the project. Be feasible with as far as the available time and resources is concerned, and bears originality, own invention, nobility. So this is a good research topic. So these are the 4 points it should target. The research problem should be properly answered. It is easy to perform. It gives adequate information. It is easy to perform. Available time you can do it, and it bears originality. It is not a copy paste. Okay. So 7 steps of research process. So what are those? So number 1, so define the problem, do the literature review, formulate your hypothesis. After formulating the hypothesis, you plan the research design, how you are going to solve the problem, then conduct the research, and after conducting the research, you get the data, analyze the data, and then after analyzing the data, you conclude your research and give the conclusions or the findings or way forward. Similarly here, this is the research process. So identify the research problem. It should be specific. You have to justify your research problem, that it is a problem which need to be answered. It is not something made up in mind. So it must be a problem which need to be answered, and you should suggest a need to study it for the audience. So you should tell the audience that this is a very important topic which need to be answered. So this is the first step. Research. These are the qualities a research problem should have. Then you will do the literature review. So for literature review, you have to go to libraries, read some books to understand, to read some journals, electronic resources, or any kind of available internet resources to review the literature and to find out the gap, that okay, this is the point which has not been answered. Okay, and then determine the relevant resources for the topic. Organize. This is a very important point, to organize your resources. So you will come up with multiple resources, but you have to organize make a literature map and then summarize the resources in a literature review. So that's why every thesis has a chapter known as a literature review. So in that you actually summarize your literature, that whatever you have studied, you give it a proper organization or a proper map, and write it down in a proper manner. And then you specify a purpose for the research. So then what is the need for the research? You actually highlight the research problem and you give a purpose to that. And then you narrow the purpose statement to the research. So how you are going to solve the research problem. Either it will be a quantitative research or a qualitative research. So you have to answer that as well in your literature, that how you are, or in your chapter 3, which is your experimental methodology. And then you actually perform collecting the data. So this is the next step, determine the data collection method. So you have already developed a research methodology, how you are going to solve the problem, and then select the individuals to study, or the instruments, or highlight the procedures and obtain and gather the information. Okay, and then this fourth step would be analyzing and interpolating or interpreting the data. So whatever experiments you have done, so you have the data. So the data is in the raw form. So if you have done, for example, you have studied 5 to 10 mixed designs, and you have on those mixed designs you have studied like strength or modulus or some other properties, and so you have the data, but now you have to analyze the data, what the data is telling you. You have to interpret the data. break down the data, represent the data, explain the data. Okay, why this trend why you are getting this trend, why you are not getting the other trend. So find out the answers to interpret your data from the literature. So now you have to go back to the literature to find out the answers to interpret the data. So you will need help in the literature in two stages. First, when you will be highlighting the problem, you are trying to find out the problem which you are going to study. Then when you will be using the literature to make a research methodology, and then you will again need help from the literature to interpret the data. Okay, and then at the end you will report or evaluate your research. You will report your research. You will first understand or determine the audience you are going to talk to, and then you will report it in a proper structured manner, either in a journal article or a conference article or your thesis. Okay, any questions till now?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
सर रिसर्च गैप को ज़रा एलाबोरेट करें, रिसर्च गैप किस तरह होना चाहिए?
Research gate, sorry.
यस सर, रिसर्च गैप क्या होता है?
Research gate. So this is a very interesting question. So Nurul Haq, actually there are multiple available resources. One is ResearchGate, the other one is Google Scholar. So these are actually the websites where every researcher make their profile, just like Facebook. Not 100% like Facebook, but it is more like you have a profile, okay? And in that profile you have your research outputs. Whatever you have done, you put it over there. So in ResearchGate or in Google Scholar, you put your, okay, I have published this research paper, I have written this thesis, I have written this, I have this published this conference paper in a proceeding, I have this conference article, or whatever that research output you have done in your final year project, in your master's thesis, in your any kind of level research, maybe at undergraduate level or master's level, or if you have done a project, so you can put it over there, you can make a profile and you can put it over there. And what happens is that a new researcher, for example you all will go and log into your ResearchGate and you will find out a research topic, and you will come up with multiple people working in the similar domains you want to work. So you will, the ResearchGate and Google Scholar are actually very informative resources. I'm planning to give a small lecture on ResearchGate or Google Scholar and how you can study or utilize these resources, because these resources are free. You can always go to ResearchGate. It is a website, and uh, so on a ResearchGate, you can it is a website just like Facebook, and you can go and you can find out the topic you are looking for, and you will come up with multiple people who are working on the similar area of research. So you can talk to them, you can follow them, just like Twitter, and you can see how they are doing research, and you can ask help from them as well. And the people can be sitting anywhere in the world. So similarly in Google Scholar, they have the research articles, and you can search the people over there who are doing research in the similar area of research which you are planning to explore. So you can study their research over there as well. So these are a very useful tools which researchers actually use, and I will ask everyone to make a profile on ResearchGate and Google Scholar. Okay.
Sir, I am asking about research gap.
Okay. So now, so you are asking out about research gap, not research gate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So research gap. What is a research gap? Research gap is something which which has not been answered or not been explored. Okay. So if you come up with some problem which has not been solved, so that is a gap. That has not been answered, that has not been researched, so that is a gap. Or something which have not been researched up till now, so that is a research gap.
सर रिसर्च गैप जो होता है ये हमेशा ऐसा होगा जो जिसमें दुनिया में किसी भी इस पर काम नहीं किया होगा.
Deखें, for research gap it should not be something which has not been done any before. So yes, that is a research gap, but there are some gaps which have a very minute importance or very minute problem statement. For example, anything, I would say, let me think. Generally, what happens is that a research, from the word research gap, we think that we can work on a topic which has not been researched before. So that is a research gap, yes. But if you find out that someone has done a research on it, but he forgot to answer a question which you raised, so that is a research gap itself. For example, someone has done has researched the properties of geopolymer. It is a type of a concrete, and he has researched about its durability and its performance against this and that, and its characteristics or its strengths, and multiple, they have answered multiple things, but they forgot to answer about one or two properties of it. For example, they forgot to tell us about the thermal conductivity of a geopolymer. So no one has done it, and then it is a gap. So you can do it and you can publish it, and that can be a research. Okay.
सर जब हम रिसर्च गैप के लिए लिटरेचर रिव्यू करते हैं तो हम एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट अपनी जहन में बनाते हैं, एक क्वेश्चन बनाते हैं. तो जब हम लिटरेचर रिव्यू करते हैं तो बाज़ दफ़ा लिटरेचर रिव्यू ऐसा होता है कि इसका आंसर किसी ने दिया होगा लेकिन तौज़ना पेपर हम तो नहीं पढ़ते, हम तो एक स्पेसिफिक पेपर पढ़ते हैं. और बाज़ दफ़ा ऐसा होता है कि वो सारी एक्सेसिबल भी नहीं होती. तो लेट्स सपोज एक क्वेश्चन है, उस पर किसी ने काम किया भी है लेकिन वो एक्सेसिबल नहीं है, तो मुझे पता नहीं है. जब मैं रिसर्च करता हूँ तो फिर मैं पब्लिश कैसे करूँगा, क्योंकि वो तो ऑलरेडी आंसर हो चुका है.
So that is the step which is literature review. So in the literature review, you actually study all the things which have been published on a specific topic. That is why I talked that you have to dig deep. You, from a broader topic, you will come to a subtopic, and from a subtopic you will come to a very specific topic which you are trying to answer, and you will then study all the research paper, or you will try to get all the research paper on that, and you will see that either the research which you are trying to do has it been answered or not, or you can find out a, 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 a characteristic which you think which is not being answered. Okay, you do some modifications in the research which has been published maybe in 2020, and you do some modifications, and okay, if it is something like this and if it is something like this, what should be the performance against fire, for example. So if you are doing research on fire and you find out a research paper on 2020, and that the fire performance is increased by incorporating something like a material, some specific material, so then you can study that, okay, if we try to incorporate steel into it, or has the performance been improved or decreased, or so you can always create a gap by yourself itself by being more creative. So that is why I told that in research you have to be creative, you have to be inquisitive, you have to ask questions. Why it, if we do something like this, can its performance be increased or decreased or remains the same? Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So research process, you will report your research, and then at the end you have to so this is a very important point, ethical considerations in the research. So some research has some ethics involved. You have to for example, there are some you have done some survey, and there are some people from which you have got the data. So you have to, and all those people have told that they don't want their names to be published, they don't want their organizations to be published. So this is an ethical consideration. You have to respect their request, and you will not publish their names or their organizations from which you have extracted the data. Or if you have done some simulations on traffic flow and you have asked some people to in your research or in conducting your experimentation on traffic, you have asked some people to come and do some research or help you in the experimentation, then you have to consider you have to give them if they have any specific requirement or a consideration they have highlighted to you, you have to acknowledge it. You will not publish it, or you can you have to follow it, in other words. So respect the rights of the participants, honor the request and restrictions of the research site. So you are doing some research on a specific site, and these people on the site, they ask you or they restrict you to on something, you cannot publish. Okay, so these are some ethics involved, and you have to report whatever the findings you have. You don't fabricate your results. Okay, if your hypothesis is proven wrong, you don't fabricate your research. You tell the research whatever your results are, you tell it very honestly, report it very honestly, because it can become a problem for someone else when he experiences the similar problem. Okay, so you have to be very honest in your results. Okay, so this is ethics involved. Any question? Okay, so how to not get your MS by research degree? So this is just
Excuse
an
me, sir.
interesting. Yes, Irfan.
सर इधर तो हमने एथिकल की बात की कि हाँ ये चीज़ें करनी ये नहीं करनी, रिक्वेस्ट वगैरह एक्नॉलेजमेंट की बात की। अगर हम कोई काम करें पर उसके रिसर्च किया किसी टॉपिक पे और उससे डेटा निकाल लिया, फिर हम पब्लिकेशन की तरफ जाते हैं, तो सर जो हमारा एडवाइजर होगा, सुपरवाइजर होगा, हम उसको एज अदर कंसिडर करेंगे या नहीं इसमें?
एज व्हाट कंसिडर करेंगे?
अदर पेपर का,
ऑथर पेपर का। देखिए दैट इज लाइक,
जी सर,
मेरे ख्याल से मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट। आई वुड से कि योर सुपरवाइजर शुड ऑलवेज बी कंसिडर्ड इन योर पब्लिकेशन। जब आप पब्लिकेशन करते हैं, व्हेन यू पब्लिश योर रिसर्च, व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट दे आस्क there is a statement that the contribution of the authors. So in the contribution of the author, what you do is, excuse me, someone's mic is on, please.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर,
Mariam, please turn
सर
off
ये
your mic.
डिस्टर्ब हो रही।
जी
कितने 5 मिलियन का?
सर प्लीज
Okay.
सबको तो म्यूट कर दे
Yes.
तो आवाज आ
Yes.
जाएगी।
Okay.
सर आप ही म्यूट कर रहे हैं सब।
Okay, that's fine. So Irfan, I was telling you, your supervisor should always be considered in your research. Okay. The reason is, when you publish your research, there is always a statement that is the contribution of the authors. So in the contribution of the author, there is a list of contributions which, like conceptualization, writing the research, guiding, supervising. So there is a term supervising. So this means that if your supervisor is even present and he help you in the finalizing your research, so it is very unethical that you publish your research without the consent of your supervisor. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so how to not get your MS by research degree? So how you can not get your MS by research degree? Okay, number one, very simple, not wanting this degree. Okay, if you're not interested in getting this degree, your father have or your parents have forced you to get admission in your MS degree. Number two, overestimating what is required. Okay, by terrorizing yourself that okay, this is not even possible, and you overestimate what it is required in your research, or underestimating, oh, this is very easy, I can do it very easily, and underestimating your research. So this can also lead to difficult scenarios in the future. Losing contact with your supervisor. Okay, after your idealization or whatever you are planning to a problem identification of your problem statement or doing your literature review, you lost track and you go to some other country or somewhere else and you lost contact with your supervisor, and that is it. Not having a thesis, not writing your thesis at the end of your research, and taking a new job before finishing. So this is another problem generally people face, is that they get a job and they keep themselves busy in that and they forget about this degree or the research they are conducting, and this leads to the you will not get your MS by research degree. You can always get MS by coursework, but that is, I guess it's not that. It is not, to me, it is not equivalent to MS by research degree. To me, MS by coursework is always much superior than MS by coursework. So MS by research is more superior degree. So there are you have to be very careful when you are doing research. Okay. You don't underestimate or overestimate your research. Don't lose contact with your supervisor. You have to write your thesis in the end of this degree. Don't overburden yourself by taking a new job. Okay. And three necessities, that is health, motivation, and support. You help your colleagues, you motivate your colleagues, and you support your colleagues. Keep yourself healthy, that is very important. And motivation and support is also key requirements to finish your degree in time. Okay, this is the end of this lecture. That is the introduction to research. If you have any questions, you can ask, and then we can start your second lecture.
सर दो
Yes.
लेक्चर होंगे
Sorry.
सर आज दो लेक्चर होंगे
जी आज दो लेक्चर होंगे जी. Someone has a question.
Sir, what are the key elements, sir, in writing a research problem, sir?
What are the key elements in writing a research problem? So this was covered here. So it should. So can you see the slide? The research topic should have all these. It must be original. It must convey the information that is sufficient to the project, feasible, and it should be. It should answer the research question. So this is the key requirements of a research topic or a research problem. So do you get the answer or?
Yes, sir.
So another point is the research problem should be a problem that is currently we are facing. It should not be a problem that is already been solved. For example, currently we are facing global warming, for example. Yes, it is a problem. We have to solve it. We have to give our input in it, whatever it is. We should not try to solve a problem which has already been solved. Okay. We have to be very careful about that. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I presume you might be aware of it, but I've heard that there is some researchers, as they don't have time with them, they try to publish their abstract. In a way, this helps them to make their topic as a patent, so that another researcher doesn't come and use that topic as for their own research. So are you aware of it, sir?
Generally, for writing a patent or something like that, you have to get some results. You can't think and then publish it. Okay?
Right.
If you have an idea in your mind and you can't publish it until you have some results upon it. Okay? And patent is something which you have, like you have an idea, you perform some experiments on it, and before publishing your results, if you think that it has a future perspective, that people will be using it in a lot, will be taking help from it in solving this problem, or for example, you have written a code, for example, to for a let's suppose a if you have done a modeling or hydrological modeling and you have written a code for this region which can help to predict the hydrological variations in the next 50 years, so you can always patent it. Okay, so as people will be using your code to get the answers, so that is patent.
Right.
Okay, so this
Sir,
is
I
your
have a
first
question.
topic.
I have a question.
Usman Hassan.
Sir,
Sir. Sir, I have a question regarding this literature review. Sir, literature review में सर जो सर हम रिसर्च जिस टॉपिक में कर रहे हैं उसमें सर इसी टॉपिक में जो पहले काम हुआ हुआ है उसमें और अपने जो हमारे रिसर्च वर्क में जो डिफरेंस है वो सर हम क्या हाईलाइट करेंगे? और सर सेकंड क्वेश्चन
नहीं,
सर मेरा ये है कि जो थीसिस राइटिंग का प्रोसेस है सर वो मतलब रिसर्च के साथ साथ हमें करना चाहिए या एट द एंड करना चाहिए?
okay, so the first question is about literature review. So you have asked that should you highlight the gap in your literature review? Am I right, Hassan?
सर जी सर.
So what generally happens is that when you're writing your literature review, you tell that, okay, from the start, when this topic was introduced, for example, when I'm just giving you an example, like I did research on geopolymers. So geopolymer was a type of a concrete which was introduced in 1970s. So when I will be doing the literature review, what I will do is that, okay, I will start from the 1970s when this is introduced in the market, and how it is introduced, what are the characteristics, what are the properties. So you will start from the broader point of view and then you will slowly go deeper into it. So slowly and gradually, at the end of the topic or at the end of your literature review, you will write one paragraph on the gap, that okay, from 1978 when it was introduced till 2020, this was the this was the topic, and this has been extensively researched, but the gap, then you will highlight the gap, that okay, but the properties or the corrosion or whatever, for example, I am thinking about corrosion. So the corrosion of the reinforcement in geopolymers, in the conditions when there the carbonation is happening, has not been researched till now. Okay, so you will then highlight it at the end. Okay, and then you will move to your next chapter. That literature review chapter is actually a base of your research, so it is your kind of the foundation. Okay, so this is your foundation of the building. So this is the literature review. So you have to tell everything about the topic. You start from the broader, then you will move towards the subtopics, then you will highlight what you are trying to do. You will try to figure out or the topic which you are going to research and what are the gap, and that is it. That's your chapter 2. Your second question is, should you start writing your research before you start your research? You start writing your thesis. Am I right?
Sir.
So yes, you should start writing your thesis because it is a step-by-step process. You can't write your thesis in your last month before your defense because it will experience multiple modifications, it will experience multiple variations when you will be doing research. Okay, so it has a body, it has a structure. You have, for example, it has a structure. There is a chapter on introduction, then literature review, then methodology. So when you are doing literature review, put it on your chapter, make a chapter of it. So it will help you at the later stages when you will be finalizing your research. And it is a very difficult step. It's not like 1 or 2 months. It will take 6 months to 10 months to just finish your thesis. And in the PhD, it took me almost 5 months to write my thesis. And the reason, and some of my colleagues write their thesis in just 2 months. The reason was those people who have written their thesis in 2 months is that what they did is that they were keep modifying their thesis in their first year of PhD, second year of PhD, third year of PhD. So they were writing their thesis and modifying it, whatever they are understanding or doing or experimenting, and they were like modifying their thesis, and they were not waiting for the end to finish their research and then write their thesis. So my advice is that in your MS by research, you make your research the body or the outline of your thesis in the initial stages, and then whatever you come up with, just keep inputting it in your thesis. Don't wait it till you finish your thesis or finish your research to write the thesis, because it takes a lot of time. Okay?
Right. Thank you.
So,
सर आई
yes,
हैव अ क्वेश्चन
yes, please.
सर यस सर सर ये पूछना था कि जैसे अभी कुछ पेपर्स होते हैं जर्नल में या आर्टिकल्स या कुछ बुक्स होते हैं जो बिल्कुल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट नहीं होते, तो ये सर डिजिटल लाइब्रेरी चाहे एचईसी की है या नस्ट की तरफ से कोई वीपीएन है इनका, तो उसका सर उससे फिर वो चीज़ें फ्री मिल सकती हैं पढ़ने के लिए, या वो उसका क्या प्रोसेस होता है सर?
जी, आपको you can get all the help from the library. Library has some links from where you can download the research papers free of cost, and then there are some websites available online as well where you can put a research paper and you will get it. So there are some websites like that. I can't remember the website, but there are some websites available from where you can download the research papers. And secondly, there are some resources of HEC and NUST. You will get it from library, and there are some links, and you will log in. They have some login detail, and you will log in, and then from there you can download all the research very easily, research papers. And then you can, if you have some research books, for example, you can't find, so there is a labs library staff available. You can tell them, and they are very helpful. They can download the research paper and give it to you. Okay, or they can search it for you as well. Okay, if you are looking for a
Okay.
book, I always do that. If you are looking for a book and you can't find it, you just send an email to them. Can you find it for me? And they, if they have time, they always do it. Okay.
Okay sir, thank you.
Sir, kindly share the links of these website.
Okay, I will let me see. I think I come, so can you see? Can you see the access to HEC database?
Yes, sir.
So these are the websites elsewhere, IEEE, e-learning, Wiley, Institute of Physics. So they have, these are the websites, and these are the username and passwords. So you can use it to access these websites. Okay, prorector ric@nust.edu.pk. Password is library, and www.sciencedirect.com. So from here you can download research papers. Okay, I will share it with you. Don't worry.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
सर जैसे आपने कहा है कि हमें रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम तक आने के लिए लिटरेचर रिव्यू करना पड़ता है, देन प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट क्रिएट करने से पहले कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंटेशंस भी परफॉर्म करनी पड़ सकती हैं। तो सर जैसे अब ये कोविड की सिचुएशन है, तो हमारे पास टेस्टिंग फैसिलिटीज़ अगर नहीं है, तो हम कैसे सर प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, या किस तरह हम अपना रिसर्च थीसिस का टॉपिक सेलेक्ट कर सकते हैं?
So, Talha, generally, so this is a problem which generally research students currently are facing who are doing research on experimentally. So they are using the labs. So generally, to be very honest, NUST is facilitating the research student. They are allowing the research student to come and work in the labs. Okay, and but yes, there, if the scenario is something like that, that you can't come, so I would say that there is always a possibility that you can formulate or you can plan your, or you can develop your research methodology, something like this, which you don't need a extensive lab based research. Okay.
सर वो तो स्टूडेंट सर वो होंगे ना जो अपने मतलब इनिशियल फेजेस से गुजर के मिड स्टेजेस या एंड स्टेजेस तक पहुंच गए हैं। जिसने सर रिसर्च अभी स्टार्ट करनी है सर, उसके लिए क्या स्टेप्स होंगे कि वो किस तरह रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम की तरफ या रिसर्च टॉपिक की तरफ आए?
You are asking me about finalizing the research topic?
नो सर, इनिशियलाइजिंग द रिसर्च टॉपिक। सर जिसने अभी अभी रिसर्च स्टार्ट करनी है, उसके लिए क्या स्टेप्स होंगे कि वो किसी
So
अच्छे
if you,
टॉपिक या
okay,
अच्छे रिसर्च
okay.
प्रॉब्लम पे आए?
So if you are extra motivated and you want to start your research in your this current semester, I would advise that you shall start meeting. You should first finalize your supervisor. Like think about the people who can supervise you, and talk to them, meet them, and discuss about their specialities. Make a research team for yourself, okay, and discuss with them about the research topics available, or you can like meet the supervisors available in your area of specialty, and you can talk about the current problems or current research topics they are working on, or they might help you in finalizing the research problem. They will task you to do some literature review, and then on basis of those literature review, you come up, you have a meeting with your supervisor to finalize your research topic. Generally, this is the first step.
Okay, sir,
Okay.
got it.
Okay, thank you. So let's start the second topic for today's lecture. That is the writing skills in English. So this is a very important. So I expect all of you to have a good writing skill, because in your research you have to publish your research. You have to tell the world that what you have done, and to do that you will need good writing skills. So how you can do it? This is the outline. So if you see, you have to plan and organize and present your thought process in an essay, in a form of an essay, or in the form of your writing. Okay, so what you need to do in writing is, it generally requires thinking. So now I'm not talking about research, I'm just talking about writing skills, just writing an essay, basic writing skills. So for that, what we require is that to write an essay on any topic in your mind, you have to do multiple thinking and rethinking and working and reworking. So you will make one draft you don't like, you will make another draft, and it is actually an iterative process in writing an essay. And why I'm talking about writing an essay, because it helps you to further enhance your writing skills. Then you have to craft, which requires a lot of practice. So you have to remove the errors, grammatical or any typos, and then you will develop an essay. So it is actually a step by step linear process You have to choose a topic on what you are planning to write. Then you have to do some brainstorming. Okay. Then you have to choose a thesis, and then you have to write an outline, do some reading on it, you have to make a draft, then do the revisions, and that is your essay, that is your final product. So there is a one major point, then sub points, minor points. So it has a proper body which you have to formulate in your thesis or in your essay. There are generally different types of essay. The few of the types I've written here. So the first is the expository essay. What is an expository essay? It is, for example, a sample topic is how to tame a dragon. Okay, so this is a topic. So that kind of an essay is actually explain or acquaint the reader with the body of a knowledge. So it is an essay which is very formal and it gives a certain knowledge to the reader. The second is actually persuasive essay. Dragons should not be tamed. So you get the idea from the topic or from the name of the topic that on it will be a very persuasive essay, and that essay will tell you that dragons cannot be tamed, and this essay will actually defend this argument. Okay, and not merely showing but convincing the other. The third is actually an informal essay, me and my dragon, and it can be a informal essay mainly for enjoyment or whatever. So this is a very informal kind of an essay. The third is actually the review sample. So a review is actually, for example, The Fire Inside, a review of John Scales' Dragon. So in this kind of an essay, what it can be either formal or informal, and it will actually evaluate the work of some other person, and you will give your personal opinion about the other person's work. So it can be you can write an essay something like this, or it can have a research essay, for example, dragon and demons in Norse mythology, and you can have a research on it. It will lead you into the work of other and ask you to compare their thoughts with your own. So you have a point of view about this, and you will actually do research about this topic, and you will actually try to compare your thoughts with the point of view presented in this research or in this essay. And the last is actually a literary essay. For example, the characterization of the dragons in work of Tolkien, and you are exploring the meaning and the construction of a pieces of a literature. So it can be so there are multiple type of essay you can write, and the reason I'm telling you is that I will give you a small assignment after this lecture, and I will want everyone to write a small essay on any topic of your liking, and you can select any type of an essay from here. So writing your own essay. So this is your assignment, how you can do it. So the first step is finding something to write. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have a face-to-face class. Otherwise, I would have made an activity for it. But that's why I'm giving you an assignment instead of an class activity. So narrowing your essay topic. So you can first is you have to think about a topic, and then you have to do the brainstorming. And how you can do brainstorming is by mind mapping technique. So what is a mind mapping technique? So write all the ideas on the paper, whatever comes in your mind. So in the center of the page, you will put the main topic of your essay. Okay, and you will put all the ideas which come into your mind, whether it is irrelevant, bizarre, or whatever, but it should be on that topic. And then second thing is you will develop connections between those points or those ideas. So it is mind mapping is actually a diagram used to visually organize the information. So you have an information about the topic, and you will write everything in your mind on a piece of paper. and then you will try to link all the information you have written on a piece of paper with each other, and the center point is the topic of your essay. And then you, after linking the ideas or the points which you have written, you actually group them into subgroups, and then expanding those worth exploring in detail. And after that, you will put these group in a logical order, like, okay, this group should be explained first, this group can be explained in the second or third or fourth, and discard those ideas which are irrelevant. Okay, example is like time management. So this is a mind map on time management, and the person has actually whatever comes in his mind he has written over here, and then he has tried to link those with the center point, and then all the sub points are linked with it. Okay, so this is a very helpful technique of mind mapping during lectures, meetings, or actually planning sessions. So this can always help you uh, in getting the ideas on a piece of paper, and then you try to link all the ideas with each other, and then after linking the ideas, some of the ideas you will discard which are not related to the topic of your essay, and some ideas you will link with others, and you will get an you will have something to write upon, and this can be a very interesting essay. So these are some of the pictures, like grand slams or time management, or something like um, doing something on a park or whatever. So this is the my requirement, that you all will have to submit 1 page essay on any topic of your liking. I just want you to see the writing skills of every one of you. So I will give you 1 week for this assignment. So this is your assignment number 1. You will have to write an essay on a topic, 1 page essay, not more than that. Okay? And everyone will have to submit it by next Thursday. And this activity is the reason of this activity is to help you all uh, in your improving your writing skills. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
सर
Yes.
सर हमने ये डायग्राम बनानी है या फाइनल जो ऐसे आप नैरो डाउन करने के बाद
I
लिखना
want
है
an
ऐसे वो आपको
essay.
सबमिट
No, I want an essay. This diagram is the technique you will use in writing the essay.
ठीक है थैंक
Sir, whether this will be an engineering topic or any other
Any
general
topic,
topic?
any topic, any topic. My favorite food, my pet, my car. These are some of the ideas. The room in which I study, or any topic you can think
सर
of.
हैंड रिटन होगा या ये वर्ड पे करेंगे सबमिट
You can submit it on Word. You can submit it on Word file, 1 page only. Okay, not
मैं
more
आपके
than
साथ
1 page.
ये बेस की तो 1.5 मिलियन से नीचे नहीं।
Sorry,
और
Zahid.
उस जो होगा उसका मैं कोटेशन लेके आया हूँ, वो 8.5 तक की कोटेशन।
यार ये इसको
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes, Rizwan.
is there any difference between causal loop diagram and mind mapping technique?
Sorry, is there any
Difference between causal loop diagram and mind mapping technique?
quasi loop diagram?
Causal loop diagram,
Uh,
like we do in sustainability.
mm, I have no idea, to be very honest. I have no
One
idea
cause
about.
is preceding the other, and the second is preceding the to the next, and so on, and the end is at the same original cause.
Quasi loop diagram. So it is kind of a loop, right?
Yes, sir. But it is actually about mind mapping technique.
It utilizes the mind mapping technique, right?
Yes, sir. It is used in sustainability.
It is used in I have no idea about it, to be very honest. It might
सर
it
इसको
might be
गूगल
linked.
कर लेते हैं अभी.
It might be linked. Any other question?
Sir, where should we submit this assignment?
No, this is a very good question. Where you should submit the assignment. So you can submit your assignment on LMS. You first have to get yourself enrolled in LMS. Okay,
सर
and
वो
then you
ये
can.
रिसर्च नहीं आ रहा था सब्जेक्ट लास्ट टाइम एलएमएस पे. तो
Have you tried
ये थोड़ा सा.
have you tried
सर आई
the
थिंक वो कोर्स कोड नहीं मिला अभी तक.
यस सर मैंने सर ट्राई 2-3 दिन से
सर
किया सर ये नहीं.
रजिस्ट्रेशन कोड है ना
बाकी
वो नहीं
सारे
मिला.
जो
ओके
आप लोगों ने
रजिस्ट्रेशन.
की भेजी है वो तो इनकरेक्ट आ रहा है.
अच्छा, वो की काम नहीं कर रही.
अभी जो
Sir, it's
रिसेंटली
working, sir.
दोबारा रिपीट के जो भेजी है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन पे
जी,
वो एरर दे रहा है.
वो एरर दे रही है.
सर आई
जी
गेस
सर.
जो प्रॉब्लम है सर वो इस वजह से है बिकॉज सर एलएमएस पे सर जो 3 डिसिप्लिन है स्ट्रक्चर वाटर रिसोर्स एंड जियोटेक सर उसका वो एमएस का कंबाइंड आई गेस उन्होंने सेशन बनाया है और उसमें जो सर आपने जो की प्रोवाइड किया वो वर्क कर रही है. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड सीईएम वाले जो हैं सर स्टूडेंट्स जब वो उस की को एंटर करते हैं तो सर देन आई गेस उसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम आती है.
ओह अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा. ओके, सो वो मेरे ख्याल से वो जो रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी का जब वो कोर्स बना है तो उसमें वो शायद ये ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और सीईएम वाले नहीं हो सके होंगे. ठीक है, चलें.
यस
ये
सर यस
और बाकी स्ट्रक्चर और
सर ये
जियोटेक और वाटर वाले कर सकते हैं उसको.
सर यस सर
Yes,
वो
sir.
लॉग उनका वो करेक्ट हो जाता है.
उनका करेक्ट हो
सर
जाता
ये
है.
वाटर मैंने ट्राई किया है, मुझसे तो नहीं हुआ, वहाँ पे आ ही नहीं रहा था. और ये भाई जो जिक्र कर रहे हैं ये पता नहीं किस डिपार्टमेंट से हैं. तो ये वाटर वाले अगर किसी का हुआ है तो प्लीज गाइड कर दें यार.
ये सर हुआ है सर.
हमारा जियोटेक
ये देखिए ये हो गया.
अच्छा, ये हो
जियोटेक
सकता
सर
ये हो सकता.
कंस्ट्रक्शन वाले भी कर सकते हैं उधर से जाके, मतलब आप नाइस में से जाके इसको इनरोल कर सकते हैं, तो वो एक ही है कंबाइंड, ये सबका हो जाता है इनरोल, ये की चल जाती है उधर.
कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट वाले भी कर सकते हैं.
सर वो हमें ना नाइस वाले डिपार्टमेंट में जाके ना इसको इनरोल करना पड़ता है, पर हो जाता है एलएमएस में.
हाँ, वो अगर इफ़ यू कैन शेयर इट विद योर स्टूडेंट्स और शेयर इट विद योर कोलीग्स कि आपने किस तरीके से किया है, सो इट वुड बी वेरी हेल्पफुल फॉर योर कोलीग्स जो कि कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के हैं, और काइंडली गाइड देम कि किस तरीके से रजिस्टर करना है इसमें. ठीक है, कि नाइस के अंदर
जी
जाके
ठीक है.
मैं वो बात आपकी बिल्कुल सही है. ये मैं फिर भी मैं जो हूँ ना CMS जो LMS कोऑर्डिनेटर है डिपार्टमेंट के, उनसे आई विल डिस्कस के पीपल फ्रॉम ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड CMS कंस्ट्रक्शन मैनेजमेंट आर अनएबल टू लॉग इन और टू रजिस्टर दिस कोर्स. तो वो दे माइट हेल्प. बट आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं मुदस्सिर, दिस इज़ द राइट अप्रोच. Please help your colleagues as well. Okay, so my advice is to get yourself registered in the course by the end of this week. Okay, because our assessments will be on LMS. Every kind of assessment will be on LMS. If you are not registered in the LMS, you will not be marked. You will not be because the quizzes, assignments, everything will be on LMS. So you should get yourself enrolled in the course on LMS. Okay,
सर असाइनमेंट 1 की जो है ना लिंक काइंडली वहाँ पे जनरेट कर दीजिएगा ताकि हम
I
अटैच कर
will
सकें
generate.
उसको.
Azhar, you don't have to worry. I will generate it by the end by next Thursday for sure, because you will have to submit it on LMS. So that is my job. Don't worry about that. Okay. Maybe I will give you some extension. Maybe you can submit it by Friday as well. So don't worry about that. Okay.
ओके सर.
So let's finish the slides. So when you are writing your essay, so or the thesis, you have to what is the body of your thesis? So the thesis has the point you are arguing, your the topic or the point you are studying should be your subject or the name of the topic, and the thesis your position on that subject, your what whatever you have researched, you should be telling it in your thesis. So your essay will take a position and will provide convincing evidence to support that view. And develop a working thesis early. Thesis may evolve. So as I've said, that you have to, the thesis generally evolve with the passage of time. So the outline, so generally in your essay, the method of organizing your essay is very careful structuring. So you have to think about the organization of your thesis based upon the topic on which you are writing. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The end has the conclusion. The beginning has to inform your audience what you have written, what is the topic on which you have written, and then the middle is your point of view. Organizing before writing allows you to articulate, analyze, and clarify your thoughts. So this is very good. So you actually give the topic on which you are writing the essay. You should organize it, that okay, first I will talk about this, then second I will talk about this. So you give an organization before writing, and this will help you to articulate, analyze, and clarify your thoughts, and it will help you in writing your thesis a lot. So organization is a continuous process, goes on simultaneously with other activities. Some principles of organization is you can organize it based on the chronological order or the classifications, increasing importance, causes, effects, comparison, and contrast. So you can have your own formula of organizing your topic on which you are writing. You can either be chronological, okay, from the start 1970s, and then you move on, maybe on the basis of the classification based upon the importance, the or increasing importance should be highlighted earlier, or then the causes, effects, or whatever. So organization can vary from person to person. And then diagram of your thought ranges from brief sketch of main points to a detailed point outline complete with paragraphs. So in your sketching of your or mind mapping, so it can be sketched around a main point, or it can be sketched around a point by point. And then you have to structure the essay: introduction containing your thesis statement, conclusion is at the end, and the middle part, that is the body of the essay, contains the argument supported by the evidence or giving the examples. So everything is in the middle part. So there is one paragraph, that is the introduction, and there is a one paragraph at the end, which is the conclusion. And in the middle, there are maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple paras in which you will give your arguments, your support, evidence, or the example. So good outline will prevent irrelevant materials. So if you have a good outline, you have given a good time of, you have made a very good mind map on the topic, and you have discarded all the points which are irrelevant, and you have given a proper outline to the essay. So irrelevant material will be easily prevented. So this is a very important point, because in essay you have to construct it. You have to construct your essay in such a way that it will give maximum or relevant information in the smallest or in fewest possible words or in pages. Construct outline by listing all the important points you want to cover. Each point connects with the next, and each subcategories be linked with the main category. So this is very important, that it should be linked. It should be on a topic which you are writing. It should not be scattered. It's very difficult. It becomes difficult for the reader to link or to understand the link between the topic and the point which you are highlighting. So it is also very important. So this is the writing your essay or the English which needs to be evaluated on the basis of your writing skills. So this was the second part of the lecture. If you have any question, you can ask. Any question? Or we can finish the lecture.
No question, sir.
Okay. So everyone is clear about the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Inshallah, we will meet next Thursday. And inshallah, we will be covering another interesting topic on research methodology. So have a nice weekend and thank you very much, everyone.
Sir, attendance.
You can put your attendance in the comment section of this lecture. So under this lecture, you can put your name and attendance. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.